Hi guys, it's Becky. How are you? I hope you're well. So today I thought we could look at pop music and the idea of authenticity. And by authenticity I mean how personable or real or authentic we find a musician and why. So one of the big debates in pop music studies is this idea of what is authenticity and how do we define it. And a lot of the times people tend to define through genre, so they might say pop is inauthentic but rock is authentic. However, the problem with that is that behind every artist is some sort of creative machine that creates an image. So we are going to look at how we can challenge this idea of authenticity. And one of the best ways to do that is to look at cover songs. So let's have a wee dive in. Okay, so very quickly, I just want to tell you about this one guy called Theodore Adorno, who was a philosopher. So back in the early 20th century, there was a school of thought called the Frankfurt School, and philosophers started to examine things like crowds, audiences, and people en masse and how they behaved and reacted to certain things. So Adorno came up with this idea of the culture industry, and he reckoned that the pop culture industry was there in order to simplify the search for knowledge and meaning and create something that stopped people thinking too much. So he reckoned that pop music, as opposed to classical music, was undignified and was for the masses to kind of simplify life, whereas smarter folk might, or more educated folk, might enjoy the more complex music of the classical world. So part of this philosophy was his observation that pop music specifically, was quite standardized. So lots of similar chords, C's and D's and G's, and lots of similar structures like A, B, A, or verse, chorus, and also lots of similar themes. So lots of songs about love and lots of songs about emotion, and lots of songs about war and suffering, and also kind of an acceptance of different values from the perceived norm of family values and conservatism. So he kind of does have a point. There are things about pop music that are quite standardized, but he thinks that pop music, or what has now become pop music, he warned that it would be responsible for creating something packaged, and something that's lazy and develops bad habits for listeners. So why is this relevant in terms of authenticity? Well, within this standardized framework that is pop music, the structure that we understand, the chords that we're used to, the sounds that we hear, how can you be authentic? So let's just assume for a wee second that all commercial music artists, be they rock, metal, pop, hip hop, R&B, jazz, have some sort of image that is curated by whoever is working behind the scenes to create that artist. Have a look at some of these pictures and just have a think about the first words that come to your head based on the images that you see of these people or these artists and how they're portrayed. So, for instance, with that first image there, I'm getting feelings of loneliness, of struggle, and perhaps sadness. With the second image, I'm getting a kind of carefree rock and roll lifestyle, worn skin, weathered, lived in, experienced. With the next image, the dance hall image, I'm getting an idea of the DJ and the crowd being one, the DJ and the crowd having some sort of connection based on the music and then feeding off each other. And the next image, I'm getting this idea of protest, I'm getting an idea of values, I'm getting an idea of standing up for something. The last image, I'm getting pure pop, clean cut, happy, shiny, young youth. So the point of this is that images give us an initial understanding of how we are going to perceive something. I would argue that the last image there would probably be perceived as the least authentic. So we have to remember that when we're listening to music, that we are being sent a message, and it's up to us how we decipher it in terms of authenticity. Now, the best way to shine a lens on this is to listen to some famous cover songs and ask ourselves, what is authentic about this? What are we listening for? So the reason for this is to separate the idea that the song wasn't written by the artist, much like many pop songs, and think about what the artist is bringing in terms of tone, in terms of delivery, in terms of performance, in terms of basic things like are they male or female, to change the authenticity of the piece and make it their own. So the following is 3 examples of very famous cover songs, and I want you to have a listen to each song and then consider what each of the same song delivered by someone else in a different way makes you think or feel about the singer.